Glasgow do the double over Edinburgh. My name's Mark. Let's talk rugby. So Glasgow start off with an early penalty. They kick it into the 22. Usual setup. They're going for the driving maul, but Edinburgh managed to halt the maul initially. Glasgow decided to spread the ball, have a couple of strong carries. The likes of Tupolatu there for Glasgow, but Edinburgh are holding them out, holding strong. But then Kyle Steyn cuts back against the grain from out on the wing, and he has the strength then to get over and ground. Jordan converts that one, number 7-0 up for Glasgow. Edinburgh then go close through Kinghorn, but he's beaten by the touchline. It's one of these ones where he's trying to kind of dance down the touchline and ground it in the corner, but he's pushed into touch. Then Glasgow are trying to clear from there, and Skinner manages to charge down Ali Price, and Edinburgh react first to the loose ball. They claim it, and then Jamie Ritchie is able to ground just to the side of the post. That's converted, and we're tied up at 7-all. We then have Bill Matta, who was fairly lively. He collects a kick and goes on a real barnstorming run, like making great meters. Ollie Smith is pinged for a side entry into the ruck, and Buffelli pops it over, and Edinburgh hit the front 10-7. We then have like a period where there's some fairly nice, like competitive, contestable kicks going up from both sides, and it's very competitive in the air as well. But then that's kind of followed by a period more of kick tennis, where they're just kicking it, for distance rather than to be able to contest it. And Edinburgh end up winning that battle. They make Ollie Smith carry the ball back over his own line, and he's under pressure from Van der Merwe there, so he has to ground it, and they get the 5-meter scrum. Edinburgh, though, they're under pressure in the scrum, but they do manage to get the ball out, and Van der Merwe crosses the line, but he's actually held up. And this was pretty important time in the match, because Edinburgh are looking to stretch that lead and maybe just get the momentum. So Edinburgh then there's a scrum down, and they absolutely destroy Glasgow in the scrum. They walk through them, and they get the penalty. They kick it into 22. They're then playing with penalty advantage because Glasgow is legally disrupt the maul. They kick the penalty into the corner again, and then Luke Crosby breaks off the back of the maul, and he goes over to score. He did really well, or Edinburgh actually did really well to move the point of contact, where they kind of flowed around the side of the Glasgow maul defence there, and he then breaks off and scores, converted out wide for 17-7 at that point. Edinburgh looking good. Glasgow then, they get a very kickable penalty, but they decide to go to the corner instead. They drive the maul within a few meters before Edinburgh are able to halt it. We're playing advantage though for them. They go to the corner again, and this one then they have a really well worked set piece. It's thrown to MacDonald, and then he pops it down to another pod of players, and they're able to rumble over. Matt Ferguson comes up with the ball. He's the scorer. Conversion is missed. It's 17-12, and Glasgow back in the game. We then have another strong scrum from Edinburgh as the clock is in the red, and they get a penalty from that. Buffelli puts that over for 2012 at half time. And yeah, Edinburgh looking, like they have the edge in this one in the first half. But then the first 10 minutes of the second half is sloppy play from both teams. Glasgow win themselves a scrum at the penalty. WP Nell kind of overextending himself. And the scrum was kind of seesawed between the two teams up to this point, where, you know, we've seen Edinburgh win a penalty, Glasgow win a penalty, that kind of thing. Edinburgh putting in some good defence, and they're putting pressure on Glasgow with their line speed. And then we have Jordan has a great break for Glasgow. He puts in a really nice fend, and he's able to put Cancellieri away, but Buffelli comes back with a great covering tackle and forces a knock-on. Edinburgh then win a scrum penalty as the pendulum swings again there for them. They kick that out for line-out. Glasgow then nicked the line-out through Richie Gray. Violano then goes through a gap, and Cancellieri and Tom Jordan combine, and he goes under the post. That's converted by Jordan. He converts his own try. 2019, and suddenly we're at a 1-point game. Glasgow then really press for the lead score. Both teams ring the changes as well at that point. Glasgow win a penalty, and there's a bit of back chat from Edinburgh, so it's moved forward 10 points. Glasgow are then able to kick into the 22 from there. Edinburgh, though, are able to pinch the line out, but they then get turned over in the maul. So again, the game is really seesawing there. Glasgow then have a sustained period of pressure on the line. They're really pounding away at the line. Sykes gets a yellow card as a lazy runner there, and Horn decides to take the points. He converts that. Glasgow back ahead 22-20. Then from the restart, Glasgow attack from deep. Tuipulotu puts a lovely kick through. Stain is able to gather it and offload it to Horn, all in one motion, and Horn then is able to go over unopposed. That's converted, and we're at 32-20. And at this point, you know, it's a very costly yellow card for Edinburgh. Glasgow seem to have all the momentum, even before like the yellow card, but they really made hay during the yellow card period. Edinburgh do try to rally, but Glasgow are looking the more likely to score at this point in the game, until about the final minute of the game, where Edinburgh do get something to go their way. They win a penalty, they kick it to the corner. Patrick Harris goes off the back of the maul, and he stretches and grounds in the corner. They then take a drop kick conversion to try and get like the restart to potentially get a draw out of the game. That's missed. And then Edinburgh knock on as they try to kind of go out from their own 22. Final score is 32-25. It's a losing bonus point for Edinburgh, but at halftime they probably would have looked to have kicked on and gone on for the win. For Glasgow, it's a bonus point win and the 1872 cup for them, so they're definitely going to be the happier of the two sides after that.